it's not the strongest that survives. It's not the fastest. It's not the biggest. It's not the smartest. It's the most adaptable to change. The innovators 20 years ago had a competitive advantage because they could change quickly and they would bring new things in. It's not a competitive advantage anymore. It's actually a requirement, to stay in the game.
Okay, hi, I'm Karen Miller and I'm here with Paula Swartz, and we're talking today about change and how to change and how to make peace with change in our lives. And Paula, you're the expert because this is actually what Paula does professionally. She's an independent business consultant and she helps companies and individuals with the process of internal changes.
Yeah, so when I started management consulting, I just happened on this practice. And it's so relevant. It's such a big part of what we deal with. And over the last 10 years, I don't know if you've noticed, but change is coming faster and faster. It's something we all deal with. Yeah, I love it. I'm geeky about it. With businesses, the first thing they want to do, they get together and they have a great idea. We're going to go mobile. Right, we're going to have a mobile app. We're going to do things differently, or we're going to be environmentally friendly, right? And so this group of people in the boardroom decide we're going to be somebody different, which is cool. It keeps you alive, keeps you thriving. But the first thing you want to do is be sure that it matches who you are. You want to see how it lines up with your values. You'd be surprised how many businesses, how many people haven't really taken the time to think about what their values are. And it's a great exercise. It's so funny, we don't know what we think until we ask ourselves and take that time. But first and foremost, ask, what are my non-negotiables? If I'm at a job and things have completely turned upside down and COVID comes and I'm gonna work from home and they're gonna change the work schedule and all these things, it's scary and you don't know what to do. It's really comforting to know here's what's not going to change because this is who I am and this is who our company is. So be clear what's not changing.
Well, one thing that I've noticed is that when people go through a great period of change, like I've noticed when my kids went off to college and they came back at Thanksgiving for the first time, that they came back really different people, that they had a maximum period of personal growth. So how is that related? This adaptability and times of change to knowing ourselves in new ways and really reaching for new potentials.
What I love about that story, how you describe it, when a kid comes back from college, is yes, they know themselves as a new way, but even better, they know themselves, right? That kind of change, you bump up against your, like I said, your non-negotiables. You bump up against your boundaries, and some of them you overcome. And so you learn a lot about who you are, and that helps you thrive. I rarely see a situation where there's a change and it goes backwards. I know that people long for the good old days or whatever, but most change moves us forward. It's about growth. And it's important to know that you can't grow, you can't improve without changing. Right?
Yeah, there's a saying, everyone wants progress, but nobody wants change.
Oh, yeah.
So why is that? What is that basic resistance that we have when we're confronted with, okay, there's going to be a new protocol established?
So here's a tip. This is a good one. If you have people in your organization who resist change, that means they're human.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
There's nothing wrong with them. You are not going to find people who automatically say, yes, give me more, give me more, give me more. You may have people who have, developed that muscle a little better and they can change. But for the most part, we all take pride in what we're successful at and what we're good at. But we can't just keep doing it, right? So the resistance is normal. It's threatening something that has had me be successful in the past. And it's less familiar, it's the unknown. And as human beings, we question that. We actually have these voices in our head that are here to be sure we survive. more so than thrive. So it's very natural, it's very human. You can look for conversations to know if there's resistance there, even if it's you. If you hear you or someone else saying, let's wait and see, that means that everybody isn't bought in. They're sitting back and they're willing to let it fail. And you've heard the weakest link, right? It's only as strong as the weakest link. If you've got people in the organization who are willing to sit back and see how it goes, then you don't have an aligned organization moving toward what you want. So that's one.
Okay, and how do you get like a set of changes implemented so that everybody buys in or takes ownership of that change?
Yeah. So ownership is the key. If you try to give the mobile app change to the IT department, you're setting them up to fail because they can't do it by themselves. It's going to have to be the whole organization. So everyone takes ownership, which means everyone has to believe in it. So part of the communication is certainly why this is important for our company, why this is important for our organization and our leadership and our customers. But the critical part about having people own it is each and every one of us has a WIFM. Have you heard that term?
No, tell me what WIFM is.
WIFM is what's in it for me.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That I do know.
Yeah, every one of us. I don't know what your WIFM is. You know, I can tell you some things that I think will be good for you, but at the end of the day, you decide the value, and individuals do that. So if you're gonna lead a group, if you're gonna lead a whole organization to change, give them the opportunity to recognize and say to themselves, and if possible, one another, why this is important and valuable for me. With them. Yeah.
Great. And then what other kind of communication is important?
Yeah, it's funny when people do just reach out to a change management consultant. For the most part, they assume that our job is communications and training. And at the end of the day, we have to get that done. We have to communicate to the workforce and to people, and we have to train them. But these other things, the ownership, if that's not there, the communication and training don't work. The alignment, we've got to get all that in place. But then we start doing the work of communication and change. The biggest misconception about change communications is that it's what you tell people. You know, we will make a communications plan, we'll tell them this, and we'll tell them that, we'll tell them this, and we forget that communication is two-way. To really keep people on board, it's herding cats, you know, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You've always got to know where they are. So put structures in place for the two-way communication, assess yourself, see what's going on in your head, listen. And then listen at the water cooler. Listen, you know, as people are talking, and ask them what they think about it. My, you know, funniest story, the thing that I see so often, the mistake that managers and leaders make is they tell their team, we're going to do this and this is the change. And then they end the conversation with this question. Does everybody understand?
Oh, and everyone just...
Yeah. Everybody says what they think you want. Does everybody understand? Yes. Any questions?
No.
That's not communication. It's just not, right? So put in some open questions where you want to learn what's in their head. And you can ask them things like, so what do you think is going to be the most difficult about taking this on? What are you the most excited about it? You know, what value do you see for yourself in this? What should we be thinking about? So that's the communication piece. We put the regular communications, of course, about what to expect and what's coming, but also structures for hearing where people are, what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anything you want to end with for our community?
Yeah, it's a couple of things. First of all, the temptation, if you're in an organization that's changing, is to say, I can't take this and I'm leaving. But here's what people don't realize. When you leave, you're going to have to change. All right?
Oh,
change.
Even bigger changes, right?
Change is unavoidable. It is the only constant. If you can get good at it, you have the opportunity to thrive. If you can embrace it and get the inner dialogue, talk to yourself about your values, talk to one another about what you're aligned on and what you value and what's moving forward, it's actually a huge opportunity for growth. personal growth. And yeah, your company will do better too.
So you can know yourself as a person who can handle anything that comes your way, that you're resilient, that you're powerful, that you're adaptable, that you're willing to change, that you're willing to communicate how you feel about your changes, and that you can keep the changes in alignment with what your core values are. Because in every change, there's a silver lining. There's something that you may not have even noticed before that ends up being 10 times better than you could have imagined.
It always works out well.